What's going on? This is Big G from G Riders, and welcome to another episode of Tested Rides. Today, I'm going to be testing out the 2017 Lincoln Continental. To the 2017 Lincoln Continental. Originally introduced in 1939, the Lincoln Continental was pure American luxury. So, Lincoln had been making Continental since 1939, but they didn't get the most popular until the fourth generation, the 61 through 69 model. That's the one that had the classically sleek boxy shape with the suicide doors that came in both coupe and convertible. So, this 2017 Lincoln Continental is loosely based on the stance and the look of the fourth generation 61 and 69 Lincoln Continental. So let's see if this car really deserves the Lincoln Continental name. This car is very posh and very luxurious. So this 2017 Lincoln Continental shares the platform with basically all the other Ford and Lincoln vehicles. So like the Fusion, the Edge, the Explorer, all the vehicles like that. But Lincoln did an excellent job making this car different from those vehicles. Remember, I work for a rental car company, so I drive a lot of Fords and Lincolns, and this doesn't drive like any of those vehicles. This drives so much better. So this one has the buttery smooth 3.7 liter V6 making 305 horsepower and 280 foot-pounds of torque, and this vehicle weighs a luxurious 4,200 pounds. Since this vehicle has the outdated at this point 6-speed transmission and it weighs 4,200 pounds, it gets a decent 18 in the city and 26 out on the highway. So those numbers aren't too bad, but I tested the 2017 Infiniti Q70. The Q70 had more power, more torque, and it was all-wheel drive, and the fuel economy was about the same. So that's kind of, you know, it's time for them to do a little bit different things to the platform. I really hope the 10-speed transmission gets adapted to this car, and I hope they make and I really recommend them to make the 2.7 liter V6 the standard engine for this vehicle. Because yes, 305 horsepower is not too bad, but remember, it weighs 4,200 pounds. It has a decent amount of power, but it just I wish it just had a little bit more torque, low end, because sometimes when it gets going, it's a little sluggish. But 305 horsepower, 280 foot-pounds of torque, not too bad at all. This vehicle, this is the Continental Select model. So this is like the mid-range model. So this starts at about $48,000, and you get lots and lots of nice, good standard equipment. But this one is $50,000 since it has the sunroof, has the optional panoramic sunroof, which I feel like is a must. I know some people don't like sunroofs, but I feel like for a luxury vehicle, you gotta have a sunroof. But for $50,000 for this vehicle, I don't think that's too bad of a price considering what luxury stuff you get in this car. I mean, and this car can really go up to over $70,000 for the top spec models. So $50,000 for this one isn't bad at all. So let's go ahead and pull over, and I can show you what the interior of this car is like, because it's pretty amazing. So one of the cool things about this car is, like on most cars have some type of door handle here, but on this Lincoln, the door handle is included in the trim here, so it's a part of the door here. So to open it up, there's just a little pad on the back of the trim here, just like a little opening. You just put your hand in there, just press the little button, and it opens the door. And the mirrors fold out too, but that's a luxury car. So open it up, just put your hand in here. Just listen to that. Nice doors. So So you're wondering, okay, this car does have the smart key system, so how the hell do you lock it? So built into the buttons, like the access code button here, there's also a lock button. So to lock up the car, you just hit that button there, and the car's locked, and it folds the mirrors in, which is pretty cool. Alright, let's take a look at the inside. Alright, let's talk about this interior. So, this car is freaking nice and luxurious in here. Everything that you touch and you feel, it's nice and soft and plush, and there's hardly no cheap materials in this car. Even just like the buttons and the switches here, yes, they're typical Ford switches, but they feel a little bit nicer than they would in any other Ford product. So where you up here, where you rest your arm for me to drive this, where I rest my arm to drive, it's nice and soft up here, and nice and soft, and it feels excellent. The steering wheel feels nice and soft and luxurious. Has some nice little stitching in here. You can't really tell because it's not color contrasting, it's just straight black stitching, but it still feels really nice. You got your nice wood over here on all the panels. All the materials match in here. So you have your wood here next to your seat controller. You have your little bit of wood here on the steering wheel, and then you have your wood all in the center console here. It's super nice. And then you have your wood over there, and then you have more wood over there, and then the back seats have wood also. Honestly, I take that back. The only cheap feeling thing on this car would be the paddle shifters. You hear that? But honestly, I don't think it's necessary for this car to even have paddle shifters. I mean, they don't work that well. The car shifts kind of slow, but it's a luxury car. It doesn't need a quick shifting transmission. So they feel like these just need to go, honestly, because it's not a huge deal breaker with the interior of this car, but it's the only cheap feeling thing. So the gauge cluster, everything is laid out pretty well. You got all your basic information you need to know and nothing you don't. So over here you got your distance to empty, you have your speedometer there, and then you have your average miles per gallon there. I've been averaging 20.8 to the miles per gallon, which is a little bit better because I haven't driven a whole lot on the highway, and I have been kind of, driving it hard, testing it out. So if you're looking around looking for the shifter, this car does actually have a shifter. This has buttons for the shift. So you got your park, reverse, neutral, and the sport. It's all right here, kind of out of the way. Having this right here saves so much space for the center console. I'm glad that they're doing it, because a lot of people have been giving Lincoln a lot of flack for having these buttons here, but I really like them there, and it's kind of out of the way where you can't really confuse it for anything else. The climate control is pretty simple here. You got little switches here to turn your temperature up and down. From both sides, you got your max AC, your dual, just all the basics. Or you can go into the Sing 3 here and go through everything. This car also comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Because I don't have my phone connected right now, but it does have. So one thing that I really like this vehicle has, it has the feature called auto hold. So basically when you're at a stoplight, you can engage it, and when you stop at a stoplight or stop at traffic, you could just, when you come to a complete stop, you can just take your foot off the brake and the car won't move at all, which is pretty awesome. So this car has the nice panoramic sunroof. It doesn't open all the way back, but I feel like it opens enough. So there's your sunroof opening. It opens as much as a normal sunroof, but when it's closed, you get a nice airy feeling, just because the glass lets in a lot of natural light into the vehicle, which makes it feel bigger than what it really is. Alright, and let's get to these seats. These seats are awesome. So this car does not have the 23-way adjustable seats, but it does have, just like your basic power seats. But even though this doesn't have the full enchilada seats like that you can get on here, it's like a $1,300 option. These seats are freaking nice, freaking comfortable. Not like any seat I've seen in any other Ford product before. They're awesome. They're awesome seats. And I've driven this car a lot. I didn't get a chance to get on the highway on this car very much, but I did just drive around town. And just driving around town, these things are so comfortable. They hold you well. They're nice and soft and cushy. They're high quality. This whole entire car has brought classic American luxury back to Lincoln. I know for the longest time, these Lincolns have just been glorified Ford products, And you know what? In a way, this one still is, but it's closer to the Lincoln side of things than it is to the Ford side of things, which is one of the most important things with Lincolns, is they need to be closer to a Lincoln than a Ford, and this is definitely a Lincoln, and I think this definitely deserves Lincoln Continental name. All right, let's see how this thing drives. First of all, this thing drives freaking fantastic. So, I'm cruising along here at 50 miles an hour in comfort mode. I cannot possibly get any more comfortable. This thing just takes bumps, just floats over the bumps. It's just cruising like an old classic Lincoln, the stankin' Lincoln. So, this car is called the Continental. Like, the Continental is a very iconic luxury car name, and when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, that's pretty nice. I like the way it looks, but is it really going to live up to the Continental name? And I can tell you, it does. So, the ride is really comfortable. This car has a decent, good amount of power. It's nice and quiet and comfortable. Quality is 100% there. The steering wheel feels nice. These seats feel nice. Where I rest my arm here feels nice, and it almost kind of has a dual personality, because when I pop it down in sport mode here, the ride stiffens up to where you can go around corners a lot more confidently, and the transmission gets a little quicker. And it just becomes a semi sporty car. It's kind of impressive, and this car doesn't have air suspension or nothing like that. So it's kind of nice that Ford Lincoln was able to do that with this car, to make it kind of make it a car that could appeal to anyone kind of wanting a car like this. Because that's my biggest thing, is I like a kind of a stiffer ride, and I know a lot of people my age do. So if they really want to sell a car like this to somebody like me, they have to give this car some type of sportiness to it. And I don't know how much sportiness you can give to a 4,200 pound luxury sedan, but Lincoln was able to do it pretty decently. Because I'm in sport mode here, and it's just hugging the road like nothing here. Like it's hugging the road like it's a small car, and it's pretty awesome. What are some things I don't like about this car? Well, this car has the naturally aspirated V6 with 305 horsepower and 280 horsepower. And my personal opinion, for a luxury car, you should have a more comfortable amount of horsepower. And 300 horsepower is decent, but with the weight this car is, I feel like Ford's 2.7 liter twin turbo V6, make it like 325, 330 horsepower, something like that, and way more torque, should be the standard engine you get on this car. Because this is a $50,000 vehicle, I should not be getting the old classic 3.7 liter V6 that came on the outgoing model, the NKS. So that's just one of the small gripes I have with this car, and I feel like if more people complain about it, I feel like they should really change it. Which a lot of people aren't complaining about it, but that's just my personal opinion. Second thing, the 6-speed transmission in this car is, frankly, it's a little outdated. Like, all of its competition, they're using, 8, 9, 10-speed transmissions, and they're still stuck. And Lincoln is still stuck with a 6-speed. I think it's kind of ridiculous at this point, where Ford is starting to integrate their 10-speed transmission into vehicles, but this car should have launched with the 10-speed transmission, just to give it a smoother driving experience. I mean, that could be a reason why they didn't do it, is they wanted to make sure the transmission was ready before they released it. Which I completely understand that, but they should have launched that car with this They should have launched this car with the transmission. But those are my only two small things with this car. But other than that, this car is absolutely perfect. And the question I asked at the beginning of this video is, did the Lincoln live up? Is the Lincoln living up to its Continental name? I would say abso-freaking-lutely. This car is definitely a great successor to the original Lincoln Continentals that came out in 1939 and became more popular in the 60s with the suicide doors, which is some kind of the stance and the way this one sits is kind of modeled off after that car. And this car definitely deserves the Lincoln Continental name. If you're looking for a comfortable, luxurious, beautiful looking American sedan, look no further than the 2017 Lincoln Continental. If you enjoyed this video, hit me with a thumbs up, hit that subscribe, and keep riding with me. Thanks for watching, and remember, videos go up 3 times a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Hey.